telling me that you have a way to defer the tax situation there? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And so the first one I was referring to is a 1031 exchange, which only applies to investment real estate. The second one I'm referring to is called a deferred sales trust.
A real eye-opener to see that there are ways that people can
All right, hello, everybody. Hello, welcome. Just getting started here. See if our video is going to work.
major feat for me to say, wow, this actually really worked. And it was really cool.
1031 is a way to shelter your income when you sell the thing. The DST is a way to avoid the 1031 and not have to suffer the time penalty.
Our career and during different tax periods, we've seen, these tax avoidance, tax minimization, offshore, all these different strategies undertaken to minimize or avoid taxes. And then I can tell you that, some of them are just not worth the trouble. And so I was skeptical. Admittedly, I was skeptical. I thought, oh yeah, here we go, another one of these, right? And then they say, no, it really is different, right? So look more closely. We looked more closely. We had, honestly, 2 years of conversations. 2 years. Now we were being due diligence at the same time that we were doing due diligence, but 2 years is a long time to be, sort of flirting with the idea of and getting to know the people and getting to really understand the transaction. Yeah, long story short, we got comfortable, although we are not tax attorneys, lawyers, or estate planning attorneys, that at least, from an investment perspective, that, it made sense to sell a highly appreciated asset, get liquid, hold that in this type of a deferred or installment sale type of instrument, and then just be in a position then to do the most important thing. I'm probably stealing your next question, which is time. They say, well, you can't make more time. You can. The Deferred Sales Trust, in a way, allows you to lengthen the investment time horizon for those assets after getting liquid, but before having to feel the tax impact. And from an investment manager's perspective, time horizon is the most important element in investing.
All right, everybody. Hello. Welcome to another Capital Gains Tax Solutions Mastermind Masterclass, which takes place every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy. And using a proven tax deferral strategy such as the Deferred Sales Trust is an amazing way for you to unlock freedoms that you might be looking for. Freedoms from the 1031 exchange, freedoms from inflexible exit strategies, freedoms from your time, energy, your stress, freedoms to create and preserve more wealth, or just stay passive, and create wealth through passive investments. And I had to have as much time. For those who don't know me, my name is Brett Swarts. I'm the founder of Capital Gains Tax Solutions. I'm also a Deferred Sales Trustee. I'm a multifamily broker, and I'm a freedom fighter. I'm a freedom fighter for your time and your energy and or your clients to be able to exit when it makes sense for them, not feeling trapped by capital gains tax. Today, we're going to be talking about the art and science of the DST, the art and the science of the DST. And that's the beginning of the show, but I am also joined by some of our strategic alliances, also some potential new faces here. In fact, we do have the Jake Meller. Looks like he is wearing the shirt, the Tax Flow shirt. Jake, how are you doing today, sir? And where are you calling from?
I am calling in from the city of Eternal Spring, located in Medellin, Colombia, and I'm happy to be here today. And yes, I am sporting the Capital Gains t-shirt, where we try to help people not become slaves to taxes, but to be liberated so that they can reinvest the gross proceeds of their transaction, of their sales transaction, rather than chopping it all up and giving it away to all these government agencies that don't need it in this moment.
Very well said. Jake serves as a financial advisor and can be part of your dream DST team. Should you choose to hire us to help you out. We also have V. Pierce York. He is out of Newport Beach, and he does commercial real estate as well as luxury sales. Pierce, how are you doing today?
Doing awesome. Extremely pumped to be here and excited to get another mastermind on the way.
Excellent. So DJ Carpenter is another financial advisor, strategic alliance of ours up in the Northwest, up in the state of Washington. Jake, how are we doing, sir?
Doing good. I'm ready for spring.
It's been cold, right? It's that cold thing that's been hitting everybody.
It's cold and windy here.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it can warm you up. But let's start with this today. And by the way, our format is typically some vision, right? Of what we're going to be talking about, what the DST can do, some frequently asked questions, and then some live deals that we're going through. And then we're going to answer questions. If you have any questions along the way, you can just put it in the chat, and we're happy to dive into those here a little bit later. But otherwise, it's going to be a little bit of a masterclass, if you will. And so today's topic is the art and science of the DST. The art and science of the DST. You know, part of the purpose here at Capital Gains Tax Solutions is we want you to help you envision, build, and gain freedom. So envision what? Well, you're going to be envisioning what your wealth plan looks like, what your retirement plan looks like, what your entrepreneurial plan looks like. You're going to envision what your time and your energy, and you want to be doing that, what kind of stress, kind of diversification you want to have with your wealth. We also want to help you build, and build is really kind of two things: build the right strategy or strategies. It could be multiple ones, and build the right team to help you execute on those strategies as it pertains to advanced exit planning, large capital gains tax, estate tax. The last thing is to unlock freedom. What for? The purpose is to give you the freedoms that you desire. And so the art and science behind this is really our passionate pursuit of helping you to create freedom and making an impact by unlocking the capital, your equity, your funds, your wealth, to be invested in families and communities. And I've been thinking about the art and science. I was watching a TED Talk video, and the TED Talk video talked about the art and science of happiness and what it really meant. And it's interesting, right? When you study something like happiness is not just a feeling, it's actually more than that. And he went through some of the art and the science of that. And I encourage you to check that TED Talk out. But I was trying to apply that same thought analogy to the DST. And for the DST, I put the DST equals freedom plus flexibility plus purpose. Or another way to put it would be, I think you can find some happiness using the DST, right? If you can line these three things up, because it's not just about a freedom from a property or a 1031 exchange. It's not just about flexibility for diversification. And it's not just about purpose with how you're trying to build your wealth and what you're trying to do with the wealth. It's all three of these things combined. So let's first start with the art and science of the DST as it pertains to freedom. So what kind of freedoms are we talking about? Well, first of all, freedom from the 1031 exchange. I don't know how many calls I had this week where people are calling me saying, Brett, I am tired of the 1031 exchange. I'm tired of the strict requirements. It doesn't even work for my business sale. It doesn't work for my primary home. It doesn't work for crypto. And I just don't want to be owning active real estate anymore. And I also don't want the inflexible Delaware 1031 where I'm giving up all control, all liquidity, and all diversification to a group for 5, 7, or 10 years. I want some freedom. I want some freedom from my primary home sale. We talked with the seller today who has about 50 homes. And part of that is it's really tough to manage multiple homes. It's like, herding cats. They're going all which way all the different times versus a big apartment complex. Yet these have high appreciation, a lot of tax here in California. It's about 37% minimum up to 50%. So for them, it was getting out of the day-to-day financials, day-to-day invoices, the day-to-day property tax. It could be anything to do with managing the managers, utility bills. I mean, it's constant, it's nonstop. Okay. And so for them, the 1031 did not work because each individual asset needs a 1031. Whereas with the Deferred Sales Trust, the big vision was they're going to get freedom to consolidate their capital and be able to move to the next deal should that come up, or should they want to just retire altogether. They don't have to be active. It could also be freedom from a business sale. Working on a couple of these right now. In fact, Jake Miller and I just closed one 2 weeks ago. And for them, it was a long-time business. And it was a C Corp. And they thought they were going to get absolutely clobbered with tax. And C Corps, by the way, when you exit, if you don't exit with the DST, it's like an extra whammy. What's that show where they like whammy? Like I forgot what it was called. It was some kind of talk show or some kind of like funny thing. But it's like C Corps, you're going to get extra hit. With the DST, you get freedom from having to get double hit with the C Corp, the way we structure it, still defer the tax. So fulfilling for them. And they're so happy. That being said, I want to pause here before I go into flexibility and purpose. I want to bring in Pierce York. Pierce, anything that stuck out, particularly with the art and science of the freedom aspect of the DST?
I think the freedom aspect is just like a lot of what it does is just reduces stress, you know? And it's just you can just not have to go to bed at night thinking like, ah, crap, I got to deal with this, and this tomorrow, right? You sleep better, you know? So it's just, you're free. And that's just a good feeling, you know?
Yeah. Was it Biggie Small said more money, more problems? Sometimes like more business, more real estate, you know, more assets that are tangible, that take management, that can have a roof leak, can have a business partner that you want to get out of the deal. It can just create problems. And that sounds like, Pierce, you know, you give the freedom to sleep better if you can use a DST to help you exit. Is that a fair summary?
Yeah. Sleep. Freedom to sleep.
Freedom to sleep, baby.
As long as you don't have kids, right?
Yeah. Was it like the sleep mattress, right? Oh, they have that, you know, freedom to sleep better. So yeah, as long as you have kids. Or even just spending more time with kids, right? We had a client recently sold a $2.5 million property, helped them sell in Placerville. And for them, they had 2 twin daughters. In fact, Warren came on. He came on about 3-4 weeks ago now. And he shared his entire story of trading the toilets, trash, and liability, toilets, trash, and termites, let's say 3 T's, for his 2 T's, which is his twin daughters that are 10 years old. It's like, I'm not going to get this time and energy back. He's driving 4.5 hours. By the way, imagine it was snowing right now and it's really cold in California. But by the way, it's happening, right? It's been crazy. He was driving over the pass. Not great, you know, all of these things. So he has some freedom from that, and he has the ability to spend more time with his kids. Jake Miller, anything about the freedoms that you want to point out before I move on to the flexibility with the DST?
People don't really realize what freedoms they've lost, Brett, until they don't actually have to pay that tax they're accustomed to always having to pay, right? So like literally a lot of people in the planning stage of, hey, I'm going to sell this multifamily, whatever, and I'm automatically going to be setting aside 33%, 47% or whatever it is, right? They're already gutting themselves, so to speak, in pulling that big chunk of their wealth out and putting it to the side. And they really don't understand what it is to be free until they don't have to do that anymore. Like literally, I mean, think about our Bitcoin client way back when. Think about some of our other clients where they were able to do things they never planned on doing, and they did it all with the money they would have otherwise paid taxes with. Like until people feel that or have that experience, it's almost like they don't know what freedom really is.
Yeah, so well said, right? Especially given the crash would happen with crypto and the disaster with at FTX, right? Just to see that if people could have gotten out and not had any hindrance from capital gains tax, get out and diversify that wealth, which leads into the second part of the art and science of the DST, which is flexibility. And again, not to be confused with the Delaware Statutory Trust. Pierce, what the heck is the Delaware Statutory Trust, and why isn't that very flexible or freeing for a client before I dive into the flexibility with the DST?
Sure. So a Delaware Statutory Trust is essentially a 1031 into a REIT. It can be good, and there are times when we will use it, especially if it's known as a mortgage over basis or debt over basis. Solves that problem really, really well. Some of the pros and cons about it are, the pros are it's kind of mailbox money. It's pretty hands off. They're Class A properties that someone else is managing. And I mean, it's kind of like you put your money into a fund and you're an LP in that position, and they basically just pay you on the thing. Some of the drawbacks, though, are it's pretty illiquid. You're stuck in that deal for 7 to 10 years or whenever they decide to, liquidate. And you really don't have any control over what's going on. It's kind of just like they're making decisions and you get what you get. And
yeah, you said it really well. And I think that's interesting, right? It's a 1031, and maybe some of the 1031 proponents would say, well, you maintain unilateral control, but as soon as you go 1031 Delaware, you're giving all that up to somebody else, a third party, right? Yeah. Which, by the way, there's a thing called the 7 deadly sins of the DST, and it's not the Deferred Sales Trust, it's actually the Delaware. And one of them is not value add, which to us is one of the number one components for the deferred sales trust, with the flexibility to invest into properties at a time that it makes sense, really deals that have opportunities to add value, or business ventures, or the stock market when the stock market goes down, to dollar cost average and buy deals at optimal timing. Part of the downsides of the Delaware is you get trapped in basically a static type of position that are typically really turnkey properties. By the way, fees are as high as 15%, maybe higher, sometimes higher, 14 to 16. So every dollar you're putting in, about 85 cents is actually hitting the real estate typically. A lot of people in between, very expensive securities professionals making big commissions. So be aware of that. But yeah, you're right. They do have something that the deferred sales trust doesn't have, which is a debt over basis solution for those who are in a 1031 eligible property that are selling, where we can replace the debt in what's called high zero coupon deals, meaning the cash flow is paying down the debt, meaning the LTV is very high, and the debt's in the company's name, the Delaware Statutory Trust, or the group who's running that name, not in your personal name, but you still get the ability to replace that debt, and the rest of it can go into a deferred sales trust. If you're curious about that, you can look up on the YouTube channel. It's the Ron Anderson. Search Ron Anderson inside of the My Capital Gains Tax YouTube channel, and it's his journey of selling $4.2 million property in Denver, Colorado, and using a partial Delaware and a partial deferred sales trust. So yeah, good job on that. Now, Jake, let's talk about diversification. Jake Miller, when it comes to prudent financial planning, as a certified financial planner that you are, talk about just the ability to stay liquid, stay diversified, and in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds of your choosing. Even T-bills right now are pretty good.
Well, and first, I just want to explain why your question is so important. Right now, more than ever before, with the volatility in the normal markets that everybody's accustomed to investing in, whether it be the real estate market, whether it be the stock market, what have you, people are realizing, if they're not already well diversified, that they should be. They're realizing it because they're seeing a large portion of their net worth shift and move. And sometimes they sell and they incur those losses because of those shifts and movements. Now, what does it mean to be well diversified, and why is that important? If you are well diversified, a big shift or movement in the stock market doesn't affect your entire net worth. So if your entire net worth has shifted and has moved greatly in the last 2 years, you possibly are not well diversified. Because if you are well diversified, you have what's correlated, what is negatively correlated, and what has zero correlation. What that means is when certain markets move up and down, it doesn't affect your entire net worth. And that's important because there may come a time, family emergency, retirement, other life event that causes you to need to access a large portion of your net worth. And if it's during a time when there's shifts and movements in the markets, and you have to access a large portion of your net worth when it's down, that's a bad story. So we want to have good stories, happy stories. We want to avoid those negative surprises. And it's imperative that you utilize tools, financial tools, and legal tools and instruments that allow you to move in and out of asset classes like the Deferred Sales Trust does. Move in and out of asset classes. What does that mean? Out of real estate, into marketable securities, out of crypto, into real estate, things of that nature, to move in and out without having to pay taxes. Now, without having to pay taxes today, so that you can more effectively manage your assets, manage your wealth, and have the liquidity you need at the moment that you need it without selling when things are down.
And that's the beauty of the deferred sales trust and the art and science of the flexibility to not only sell any asset of any kind, defer the capital gains tax, but also have the flexibility to diversify into different asset classes, the flexibility of timing to buy and low, hopefully sell high, the ability to grow something over time based upon when it makes sense for you to access the capital, especially the liquidity. If you work so hard, you don't want to be going into a situation where the market's shifting, especially for something that's illiquid like a business or real estate. Obviously, crypto a year ago, at least a year ago, get out, right? I mean, people said it was really high, and now it's been a bloodbath. We help just a couple people. We want to help more people, in the future when it goes higher. Even right now, you might still have some good gains. Call us, we'll walk you through that. But the point is, flexibility to be diversified. You also have the flexibility to be retired or an entrepreneur. Right? You might want to start that new business venture, like a client of mine who sold a $2.6 million business in Alabama and used some of the funds to develop multifamily units in Tennessee, ground up multifamily development business. Another client, we recently sold a $29 million deal in Texas. It's the second of two sales. And for them, it was actually funding their next real estate venture, but also keeping some cash liquid on the sidelines to keep the powder dry. So it's waiting. It's kind of being patient with the money. And that's the beauty of the deferred sales trust. So that's the flexibility. Let's move into purpose, right? The art and science, we've covered so far the freedom of the deferred sales trust. We've covered the flexibility for the art and science. And our premise here is that DST is equal to freedom plus flexibility plus purpose. So let's cover the art and science of purpose. What do we mean by purpose? Well, some people purpose for your wealth. We have clients that want to give a lot of it away or give portions away. They might do a partial donor advice fund or partial even CRT or partial deferred sales trust. They might want to have flexibility to have the deferred sales trust pay a charity of their choice after a certain period of time, in their living trust, pay their kids for a certain period of time and then pay a charity. Or perhaps that charity goes sideways, like they can, and with some leadership, they go sideways. You want that flexibility for the family to be able to shift some of that wealth. The cool thing about the deferred sales trust is there's no charity required, but you certainly can work it in with your living trust. And number two, it's adjustable and flexible. So you're not having to irrevocably give it away after a certain period of time. It's very flexible, which is really nice. Also, it could just be the purpose to fund your time and your energy and your purpose for the rest of your retirement. The fourth quarter is one of the way clients put it to me. It's like, hey, it's my fourth quarter now. And this quarter, it's about time and energy with the family. It's about purpose and wealth building. It's about, making sure I'm passing on the family legacy. That could be the purpose. We had another client who wanted to start like a leadership retreat. He built a bunch of money in real estate and he wanted to do leadership corporate training for leaders. And that was his focus and his purpose. So what is your purpose and how does the DST unlock that besides just deferring the tax, besides just being able to sell your assets and build some wealth? You really want to make sure you're weaving in the purpose. So the art and science of the DST are those three things. I want to bring on Jake Carpenter. So if he has any thoughts on any of what I just said, Jake, what do you think about freedom, flexibility, and purpose with the DST?
It brings a lot of options that people didn't realize they had. So they're to a certain extent, I have to coach them in being able to understand that things that they never thought were achievable or possible are now possibilities because they've got more freedom and flexibility. They've got the ability to diversify. They have the ability to address potential estate tax issues. They have the ability to create income. So they have choices. They can control when they want to pay their capital gains tax, if they want to pull out some of the basis over time, especially if taxes, go in a favorable direction. I don't know that they will, but at least they'll have that option. So part of it is as a strategic advisor that works with this strategy, it's partly a coaching process to help them understand and come along and take them to a place that they didn't really think they could go to because of the 1031 exchange and the traditional types of strategies that kind of keep you in a box.
Yep. So it sounds like the purpose, the flexibility, the freedom helps to unlock you out of maybe the box that you might be in with whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And that's also part of why it takes a team, right? It takes a team to help weave inside, work with your CPA to bring it. We have the financial advisors, which with both Jakes here, financial real estate professionals and Pearson, myself, as well as a trustee is our role. But it's that team approach. And by the way, sometimes the people who helped you get to where you're at are not the same team to take you where you want to go, right? So sometimes it means bringing in the new financial advisor, the new deferred sales trustee, right? The new tax exit strategy, because the old strategies weren't working or worked for a while, but now you're trying to go somewhere else, and that's where that box becomes, the new norm. I've just got to wait and get the stepped up basis until just got to hold on. I can't move out of the primary home. I just I'll wait. I can't move closer to the grandkids or unlock that capital because I'm gonna get hit by tax. I really can't exit that partnership. I really can't exit that highly appreciated stock position that Jake Miller working on a multi-million-dollar Apple stock position deal. The cryptocurrency, whatever it is, whatever that box that you feel stuck in, we want to help you unlock the freedoms, the flexibility, and hopefully help you to get to more of the purpose that you're trying to achieve. And so we can be that guide. Pierce, you want to add anything else to that? And before we open it up for questions in the deal close story of the week.
No, I think we've covered that. Let's move on to the deal story.
Okay, cool. So part of the mission of Capital Gains Tax Solutions is to lead and inspire the building of wealth and freedom with our clients and partners through the relentless execution of transformational capital gains and estate tax solutions. So that's like the big mission. So now we're going to get super practical, and our goal is to just really unlock for you what's possible, right? What's possible. And so let me think, the one that we couldn't go through today didn't let's see here. What is be a good one to go over today? We did Warren week before last. Jake and Miller and I, we're doing another one. It's a repeat client. He's selling his second home in Oregon right now. And so he is actually a financial advisor himself. Not odd, but he invests in real estate and he's building some wealth. So Jake Miller, this is his second transaction. Not huge deals, but it's part of building his wealth, part of his diversification. So what are your thoughts on that particular Oregon sale that's happening right now?
So here's an interesting thing, right? Everybody is in the business of making money. That's why they're in business. They have that thing that they do really, really well that has made them all of this money. In this scenario, this financial advisor has an asset that he's selling. And he, just like many other people, would like to diversify. He already has different projects he wants to invest in, right? So he has a tech company and he has all of these different things that he wants to put his money into. He can't do everything he wishes to do if he has to chop it up and pay taxes. We have liberated him based on our discussion here in the very beginning of today's presentation. We have helped him find this freedom. We have liberated him from having to pay those taxes now. And we have given him the freedom to invest in these other startup companies, as well as these other projects of his. And we've done that because of the Deferred Sales Trust. And he's now closing. He's now getting everything underway. So everything's moving forward. His deal is kind of more complicated than most deals, Brett. He's got a lot of pieces that need to be sifted through, a lot of pieces that need to be helped and assisted, so to speak. And that's why we have this dream team of everybody around us, including the tax attorneys, that have stepped in a very, very good way to kind of help through this process in his deal, which is more complicated than I would say most people's.
Very well said. And I think that's a good other point too, Pierce. He came out of real estate and he's going into a tech business. So we're unlocking the entrepreneurial freedom. Is that right, Pierce?
Yeah, and that's one of the huge benefits. You don't have to go right back into real estate. And if it's a primary home, you were pretty much stuck with 500 grand if you're married, 100 to 250 if you're single. So, I mean, you couldn't even do a 1031 with a primary home.
Right.
So you solved two problems. Solved this tax problem, then you gave him the freedom to go out and do what he wants with the money.
Exactly. Right. Which helps him get to more of his purpose for the part of his career where he wants to be a little bit more entrepreneurial. Right. He wants to get the side hustle or the new potential career. And this becomes, we call it the go fund yourself, rather than having to get funding from a bank or another partner or someone else. The trust can be your silent partner to fund that business dream, to help you pursue your next purpose for your career, for your calling, whatever it might be, right? This is a great way to use the Deferred Sales Trust. That being said, I want to open it up for questions from anyone who's in attendance. Thoughts, questions, concerns, challenges, all of the above. I will say a few names here. Let's see here. What do we got? Who we got in the audience today that wants to say hello to us? We've got Jim. Hey, Jim. You want to say hello? Say hello. No worries.
Brett, how you doing? It's been a while since I've been on, but I always tune in on Fridays and listen to it. It could be a Saturday morning on the replay, but
yeah.
But The one thing I do want to bring up is that, I'm a stock guy, so I'm going to be bringing the stock to you guys. And I've got some now. I'm supposed to get 2 more allocations here pretty soon. And then we're looking to probably do a disposition here, probably third quarter of this year. So we'll definitely get started sooner rather than later on that. I just want to make sure I've got everything, that's been promised to me so far.
Now,
The
when
one
you say,
thing,
sorry, Jim, I was just going to say, now that you're talking about stock, you're talking company stock. Is that correct?
true. And we had brought this up one time before, and I always remember the word nexus. You had brought that up. So that's always been buried in the back of my mind. So, so it is private right now. They're kind of relaunching it to be publicly traded here very soon. They had to issue, I'm going to screw this up, but 10 Qs, 10 Ks, and they were going to try to do a super 10K for multiple years. And so they're getting that done, paying the fee and getting all that handled for now. But yeah, so that's, and I remember you saying that if you were to set up a schedule, annually and just kind of get it on a routine schedule for selling, that's kind of the best way to do it. So that's something I'm looking forward to doing there. But just touching on some of the topics that you guys have brought up, I almost look at this, the DST, in my case, obviously stock, but I'm also looking at different businesses to acquire. And even on a rising rate environment, everybody's expecting a dip, valuations on homes, businesses, everything else. And I think this is almost like a turnkey solution for those individuals, because you actually have the ability to buy the dip. And if you were to get a $3 or $4 million property and expect to pay $1 million, $1.3 million in capital gains, you can basically, bring them into the Deferred Sales Trust and then offer that discount, let them buy the discount, but you're still walking away with more money than you normally would have if you had to pay those capital gains up front. And I think that's kind of an interesting key for this, is that there's a couple of people I've been talking to. One is a $3 million business in the healthcare space, and they'd be originally looking at, $1 million that they'd be kicking out, I'm sure, or if not more, and then walking away with hopefully 2. But if they went and sold it for 2.2, 2.3, they're giving that buyer the opportunity to buy that dip on a $700,000 discount, but still walk away with a few $100,000 more than they normally would have if they had to pay the capital gain. So I feel like in a challenging environment in business acquisitions and things like that, it does get people off the sidelines and make that move to acquire a business if they're shown this opportunity and this tool.
Jim,
So
you said it so well. It sounds like what you're saying is you have an opportunity to unlock to buy the dip. In other words, to make this a wealth building machine, or the way that Jake Miller likes to put it, a cornerstone financial tax and wealth part of your plan. And that's the cool part when you start to understand how to make this an investment and not an expense. It's not just like a 401k or just like an IRA or just like a 1031. It becomes that cornerstone way for not only to defer that capital gains tax and exit well, but then be able to buy at optimal timing, which we believe is one of the single best ways to build wealth, which is time, right? And so,
Right.
Good. Anything else to add to that, Jim, or any other thoughts or questions?
They always say, money is made when there's blood in the streets, and there's a lot of people right now that want to make that move. They want to sell that business, that stock, whatever, to take advantage of some upcoming opportunities 12, 14, 18 months down the line. And so I think this is a nice way to, create that win-win scenario for both sides, to, take advantage of that right away, get the people engaged, pull that business into the Deferred Sales Trust, and then both parties win on that. And then they can, have that money, like you said, warehoused, allocated, that they can shoot that out when and if an opportunity pops up. They're not beholden to these timelines that we're, so used to being ingrained into our brain. So I think it's an interesting play. We always look at it in an economic boom, but when you have a contraction in the economy, this does have value to it, and I think it really can unleash that productive potential of it.
Yeah, very, very well said. I want to invite Eric in. I see Eric got his own video. Eric, any thoughts or questions for us or comments?
Yeah, so I've only worked on one transaction with you guys in the past, and we have another client that is thinking about selling a business for about 4.1. And I was just some of the questions that they had were, and I'm obviously not an expert in the DST or anything like that, but once the funds are in there, those are actively being managed, correct? And what kind of like return on investment are you guys typically seeing on the assets that are being held in there?
Let's let Pierce jump on that, and then we'll dive. Well, Jake tally up on that one. Jake Miller, go ahead, Pierce. What do you think?
So one of our favorite people, that we like to have do the financial advising part of it is the Jake Miller, and Jake Carpenter is coming up here soon too, big time in the lead for that too. So we have a team of financial advisors that we have that we like to, that know the DST, that utilize the DST, and so on and so forth. As far as the actual return is concerned, a lot of it depends on their risk tolerance, right? What they're trying to do. And that's going to change the way that we structure the notes and all that kind of stuff. If you have somebody who's a super conservative, they're maybe elderly, right? And they're just looking to protect the downside. It might be, a much lower return with a much less risk, right? Versus you have someone who's entrepreneurial, who's like, hey, I'm still trying to get after it, and I'm gonna go for the startup, and I'm not going to raise any equity, right? And that's how we're gonna structure that. It's gonna change. The key is that we want to get everybody on the same call to talk about everything that's going on, the goals, what they're trying to do with the money, who's involved, what are their extra, pieces of their entire financial plan look like, their estate plan, right? Where they're at with that, their particular tax situation. So there's a whole X-ray that you got to take that requires not just us, but the rest of their people to communicate with our people so that we can come together with the most efficient plan and the best return based upon what they're trying to do and what they currently have. Jake, if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah. Well, Eric, first and foremost, hi. I mean, it's been a little while, right?
Hey. Yeah.
How's your little piece of paradise there in Utah?
It's good. Yeah, we're enjoying it. Yeah, it's fun.
Very good.
You're still out of the country, huh? Hanging out in South America.
In and out pretty much all the time. Been specializing a lot in alternative investments. And the reason for that is greatly because of the Deferred Sales Trust. Because of some of the things that you just asked. What is it that they can invest in? What is the expected rate of return? All these other things. In an effort to help people achieve what the customer wants and needs, we've been able to broaden our scope beyond what most financial advisors do. In the sense that a lot of financial advisors are very limited to maybe a fund family or a custodian or just marketable securities and life insurance, or, there's all these barriers and limitations. And with the Deferred Sales Trust, a lot of times these people, they want to go out of one piece of real estate, but maybe into land, right? And they can't do that with a 1031. They want to go out of Bitcoin and they want to have some marketable securities, but now they want, maybe they made all their money here in this one thing, and now they want some crypto, they want some marketable securities, they want some real estate, and they want to invest in that tech company, and they want to invest in that medical dialysis company directly, like a private investment, right? So in an effort to facilitate the needs of what people have, we've become a little bit more of a CFO on the financial side. So a lot of CFOs are either on the accounting and tax side, or they're on the financial side, and really, really, really expensive CFOs have a good combination of the two. And that's who we've become. We help people with more corporate or trust level asset management. We work with the trustee, Brett Swarts. And when people have an eligible transaction that's eligible for a deferred sales trust, we help them make that transition from whatever it is that they're selling into the next asset. And timing is a big key. They may be real estate people, and they may always want to be real estate people. Brett, we have some clients in Arizona that are big real estate tycoons, and that's all they ever want to do. But because of the Deferred Sales Trust and the fact that we're able to save them a lot of money in taxes, they're able to do a little bit more. The right time to sell is not always the right time to buy. So, if they can't use a 1031, or if they failed with a 1031, we can oftentimes save the day with a Deferred Sales Trust if we're brought in time. And so literally to your question, and what Pierce was alluding to is that every client we help establish what their goals are, their objectives and their goals for the money. If their objectives and goals, which this is a common thing, is to find the next opportunity, they may not know when the next opportunity is. So right now is the right time to sell. It's not the right time to buy, but the right time to buy might be in 18 months, might be in 5 years. In the meantime, how do we make most use of the funds that we have until we can take advantage of the next opportunity? And so we help them manage those assets. A lot of times we do use marketable securities, just like normal financial advisors. But then again, we might do some inventory loans to some manufacturing companies. We might step in to an Airbnb type real estate fund that has a short duration. If their plan is in the next 5 years, I want to do X, well, let's get into something for 2 years and see how it looks at the end of 2 years. And then we still have 3 more years before the main objective hits. But in the meantime, we're making higher returns with less volatility than having everything, all your eggs in one basket, or all your eggs in the stock market, so to speak. And so much more than just managing money in the stock market, though we can do that, much more than just helping people purchase life insurance as an asset, which oftentimes is a means of diversification, not only of asset class, but of tax class. And how do you properly unravel some of these complicated structures so that at the end of the day, you can walk away with that tax-free asset, right? So this becomes more of like a long-term runway that we help our clients with. Once they step into the Deferred Sales Trust, now they've got this little dream team. We align with you, Eric, and your team on the tax side, and we help clients move in and out of assets in a more efficient way. And sometimes that's marketable securities, and sometimes that's 8 to 12%, and sometimes it's something that does more.
Cool. And are there requirements for withdrawing anything from the trust over time? Do you have to, or can you just leave the principal in there for as long as you want?
The answer is it depends.
Okay.
That seems like a common attorney answer, right?
Common answer.
Yeah, it depends, Eric. So basically, we're going to structure it. There's always a payment set to come out at some point.
Okay.
So it's like if you bought a home today and you had a loan on it for the house, and it says you pay us X per month, X interest rate per month, right? It could be interest only, it could be principal and interest, but you might refinance it a year from now, right? And now there's a new payment schedule, right? A new amortization set based upon a new interest rate. We're not changing. We're not really ever changing the interest rate. So, but more so changing the payment. Okay, so that is between the note holder, trustee, and based upon the risk tolerance. But generally, it's between 6 and 8%. So Pierce, when he was answering some of those questions, it's the ultra conservative 5% net of fees is the goal, and then as high as 8% net of fees. Right, fees are about 1.5% to 2% per year, depending, no matter how where they invest the funds. So let's say that we're trying to earn 7, we're going to try to earn about 9. Right, if you're trying to earn 5, our goal is to earn about 7. Not a guarantee we have to make the money, but yeah, that's always set there, and that is their asset they own is the promissory note. Remember, they don't own the trust. If they own the trust, would be taxable. They own the promissory note. They become the lender, and then that asset, that promissory note, can be passed inside of their living trust, and their kids can continue the tax deferral. But most clients will structure these promissory notes as interest-only payments. Typically, not even the full. Let's say it was at 8. Typically, not even the full 8. They're structuring at 4, maybe. You know, they might delay it for a couple of years depending on their income, right? And they might get with you, Eric. And Eric, by the way, is a tax preparer, I believe CPA and such. He's doing all of that planning, and we're going to do some tax engineering. We're going to say, hey, Eric, how are they doing this income this year? And they say, hey, they're doing really great, guys. If you can delay the payment, till next year, that'd be great. Excellent. Hey, how are they doing this year? They're actually having a low year. This would be a good year to take some income, right? And we can amend the promissory note. We can change it to accelerate some of the payments. So definitely some flexibility, just not something you want to do every month, maybe once or twice a year, make a change. But within 2 years, you do need to start taking payments. It's not something you can just delay forever. We have to see within about 2 years, start taking some payments. Does that answer the question, Eric?
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Okay. Love it.
Yeah.
All right.
Remind me, Eric, this client, what industry are they in? Just to get a little bit more specific.
It's like professional services.
Okay. And so selling a book of clients?
Yep, exactly.
So that's a wonderful thing. I mean, that's something that's not usually eligible for a 1031 or any of these other strategies. Normally this is something that has almost no basis typically,
Yeah, they don't have like any basis, right?
And what's did you say 4 million, something like that?
Yeah, right now the LOI is, well, the purchase price is 4.1, and then it's like 10% seller financing that they're going to receive over the next 10 years. And then it's like the 3.9 whatever cash up front.
Yeah, so big deposit or down payment of 90%, and then the other 10, and possibly even based on our formula of performance and other things, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, fantastic deal. Are they staying on with the current people as like a manager or anything?
It'll be a clean
buy out and walk away, clean break.
Yeah.
And I'm sure since it's a clean break, there's a lot of time, probably a lot of interest in doing other things and using the money to reinvest.
Right, exactly.
Which the Deferred Sales Trust allows them to do that. It allows them to joint venture partner with the Deferred Sales Trust in these future ventures that the individual might have, whether it's another service company, or maybe they're ready to do something new and become a real estate person or whatever, right? And so this really gives you the freedom to help empower your client to do what they truly wish to do.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's a really cool tool.
Thank you, Eric, for the good questions and encouragement. Does anyone else have any questions or thoughts on anything that was said or anything that was said before this, right? Or anything at all?
Darshan, do you want to say hello? So Darshan has several different logistics companies, trucking companies, and was interested in joining the call today because he would find this to be a very unique thing. He's in the mode of acquiring other businesses, and they buy and sell things all the time. So I hope that this has been helpful today for Darshan and his team.
Excellent. Good. Anybody else? By the way, happy Friday, everybody. Hopefully it's warming up where you're at. I'm going to the Best Ever Conference next week in Utah. It's the Ashcroft Capital, one of the biggest commercial real estate conferences in the country. If anyone's going to be there, come say hello. Love to connect with you in person. Salt Lake City this year. DLP Capital is going to be there. Ashcroft Capital, all kinds of other really cool things. There's a big dinner going on. If you can only make the dinner, look us up. We can get you in the dinner. But Pierce, there's a slight chance he might be going.
Slight chance.
Ooh, okay.
I'm moving it up.
Tell me there's a chance there. And then I also want to invite everybody to the other DLP conferences happening at the end of March in New Orleans. I'll also be live in person. I'll be in a little breakout session on the DST. Everyone's invited. March 22nd, I do have access to discounted tickets. Normally $2,500. We can get it for a fraction of the cost. It's going to be an amazing event. World-class speakers on generational wealth building. Basically, how to pass not only to the first generation, but to the next. But world-class speakers. It's going to be incredible. Love to see you there. New Orleans, March the 22nd to the 25th. You are all officially invited. Let me know, Brett at capitalgainstaxreach.com for the discounted tickets. That being said, Mr. Jake Miller, if people want to get in touch with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, we have a website, strategictaxsolutions.com. There's an 800 number, 1-800-773-1848, or simply reach out to anybody here on the team, and we pretty much all work together pretty cohesively.
Excellent. Pierce York, if people want to find you, where can they find you, sir?
You can call me directly on my cell, 916-878-0903. I threw that in the chat box. Also, you can catch me at kingdomluxuryrealty.com.
Right on. Jake Carpenter, people want to get in touch with you, sir. Where can they find you?
Jake Carpenter with Carpenter Capital. You can email me at jake@carpenter.capital, or you can call at 509-460-8700.
There it is. Jim, I don't know if you want people finding you or not. You kind of in and out, but you let me know, man. Like what?
I'm going to get on the radar a little bit here as we go. But One request for Pierce, because I did go to UC Irvine. I lived down in Newport for a long time. And for those of us that like to surf, when he's rolling on the strand and he's doing his little webinars, if you could just point that thing out towards the water so we can just get a little surf check from time to time, that'd be great.
Oh, right on. I'll just face the ocean from now on.
That's what I'm talking about.
Awesome, Jim. Thanks for coming, and thanks for connecting with us. It was some good stuff. And if people want to get in touch with me, you can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. It's capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. Check out the new book coming out. By the way, do you guys want to see the official new actual title? Are you guys ready? Drum roll, please. And you're like, give me the evidence, Brett. This thing's actually happening. Well, let me show you. This is, we are like, the 10 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Finally, after about a year, I know, telling everyone it's coming out in 30 days, that's what my publisher kept having me say. Keep the excitement up. So this is the this is it. This is the final cover and back cover. And so what do you think?
Can you hear the golf clap? Very nice. Very nice. I like it. Looks
coming
good.
out on Amazon. Yep. So it's called Building a Capital Gains Tax Exit Plan. And it's the proven playbook for unlocking your ideal wealth plan when selling assets of any kind for yourself or your clients. Check it out. We have the Jake Miller in the book. We have the Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank in the book. I have a couple chapters and some other really smart people. So that is coming near you. And if we can help you at all with your exit planning, with getting more flexibility, more freedom, more purpose, understanding the art and science of the DST and how that might be an excellent fit for you, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. It needs to be $1 million net proceeds, $1 million gain or more to qualify, but go there, connect with us. We would love the opportunity to get to know you. And we appreciate everyone listening, and we'll talk to you all real soon. Bye now.
Thanks, gentlemen.